Today on the Topic Show, Brazil bans X and VPNs and will even charge citizens $9,000 per day if they use a VPN. Kamala HQ falsely claims that Tim Pool in Project 2025. Colorado citizens speak out against the invasion. Tim Walz's brother donated to Trump and says you should not vote for his brother Tim. Trump to charge customers $455 for a once standard free feature. Starlink Mobile to partner with T-Mobile. And Ford to recall 90,000 vehicles. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So, if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Ford to charge extra for this once standard feature that about 18 people liked. Well, okay, maybe more than that, but probably not too many. Now, this comes with thanks to the OG search engine, Yahoo, specifically Yahoo News and Fortune. And this, you can see the little one of the Ford F-150s on the assembly line. This is by, it says, writer by Bill over there. It says, quote, a once standard feature on the Ford F-150 will now cost you $455. They say, quote, America's best-selling truck will lack a similar feature in its 2025 model unless you're willing to pay extra for it. The security code pad, which let Ford F-150 owners lock or unlock their vehicle without keys, and which has been standard on the truck for decades, will now be a dealer option at $455. They say, quote, security code is available for any 2025 F-150 customers as dealer-style options, or customers can use the Ford Pass to unlock and unlock doors, more and more. The company said in a statement to Fortune, they said the security code debuted in 1980 and went on to become familiar sights on many Ford and Lincoln vehicles, especially the trucks. It has been removed from other lines already, but the F-150 kept it, which is interesting. They removed it from other vehicles, perhaps due to lack of popularity or anyone wanting it, and yet they're going to say, oh yeah, if you want it, we're going to charge you extra for this. Again, it used to be a standard feature, and they go on to explain the actual, how it actually works. Again, it's pretty darn simple. It was a very unique thing on Lincolns and Fords for decades, literally. You just walk up to a vehicle and had a numerical keypad on it, and instead of having to carry around a Ford key or a Lincoln key on your little belt loop, well, then you just type in your code and unlock the vehicle. Then subsequently, I suppose you have a key inside the vehicle, and then you could turn it on. And I was about to say more often than not, sometimes you'll be able to drive away from there safely with the vehicle, actually starting and going somewhere. But let's be honest, the odds are usually not in your favor, depending on the vehicle that you're actually driving in the Ford family catalog. Now, I'm not, and then of course they have the feature nowadays where you can just, punch it in with your cell phone, which is great because that'll never backfire or have hackers or anything like that, I'm sure. Ha, that's a joke because, again, technology is inevitably unsecure by its very nature. And I don't know how many people actually go for this feature. It was a very cool, it's a brilliant patent. They probably made some sales off of the feature. A lot of people, maybe people liked it, but nowadays every car company has the thing where you have the app on your phone. So if you want basically the same outcome of not having to carry a physical key, that already, you already have that with smartphones. I remember Range Rover a couple years back had like a little wristband with RFID inside. That way they claimed it was for athletes or, going out swimming or doing some type of off-roading activity or outside your vehicle, anything, on you. You just take the little wrist, basically a rubber band, you take that was on your wrist, you just tap it on the Range Rover and do it open for you. Which is a pretty interesting idea, very somewhat similar to this. But yeah, I don't see a lot of Ford truck owners, paying $455 for this dealer installed option. And I don't know, let me know in the comments. Do you think this is still a key feature, pun moderately intended, in terms of vehicle access in 2024? Granted, this is a 2025 model year for this specific instance. But let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Starlink Mobile to partner with T-Mobile for year one, and then roll out to all telecom providers. Well, let's be honest, there's realistically 3 in the United States. You have AT&T, you have Verizon, and subsequently you have T-Mobile, which also, I would say moderately recently, bought out Sprint a couple years back. Now, this comes to us thanks to Elon on the good old X Twitter, and he's responding to Ben Longinger. Now, Ben Longinger says, quote, double F9 launch last night from both coasts. The SpaceX direct-to-cell program just added 26 satellites, bringing our total to 168 satellites. T-Mobile will have no more dead zones in the U.S. later this year, which is good because of all the carriers, they have the least best coverage. Now, Elon responded saying, quote, Starlink direct-to-mobile phone internet is exclusively with T-Mobile in the U.S. for year one, then other carriers thereafter. We are starting off working with one carrier in each country, but ultimately hope to serve all carriers. And this pretty viral, got about 12.3 million views as well as 42,000 likes. And this is going to be revolutionary for the telecom industry, to say the least. It was a thing back when I was a kid. One of the most magical moments on the green, or I was at the silver screen in the little movie theaters back then, was, I forget which one, but it was one of the Jurassic Park films. And in the film, everyone was in danger because they weren't prudent enough to have firearms at the time, I suppose. But they're all in danger from the dinosaurs, and they were on a sinking raft in the river, and they had to reach out and had to get help. And they were able to do that because they had the magical, well, to me as a kid, it was magical. It was a satellite phone. And back then, satellite phones were comically larger than a regular cell phone. But the benefit was you did not need cell towers because, as the name would imply, it would use satellites to actually relay the information and connect the call. And it was really cool technology. A lot of business global entrepreneurs would use it, and they become more popular. Though again, still more expensive than the standard cell phone. In the United States, I believe the company is called American Telecom. There's realistically one business that owns a majority of the U.S. infrastructure from cell phone towers. Now, in that case, we think you're using AT&T or Verizon. They don't own those towers. What they do is they basically bid for a percentage of usage of those towers. Hence why one of the reasons you have better coverage is because they simply paid more to have more bandwidth of those cell towers. Now, the downside is there are a lot of areas of the U.S., so mainly Montana and Iowa. I only partially kid. Hashtag go Hawks. But they didn't have a lot of cell towers there, so they didn't have the best reception. Now, with satellites, they're literally all over, and that will eliminate this issue. Now, a little downside for the privacy, you'll have basically we already have very little in terms of your privacy with the GPSs on your phones, but yeah, in terms of, back in the day, cell phone geo-tracking was, bouncing your cell phone off the linear cell tower, which is, approximate to a certain degree in terms of, they're miles away from you, so they could correlate it and get close. But this is much more precise, so it might be some concerns for privacy. Granted, unfortunately, Americans really don't care about that all too often these days, but it'll be revolutionary for the telecom industry, especially once you get this price. I suspect, like many instances, the price per unit will decrease over time, and it'll become much more affordable for everyone. And yeah, it's going to be one of those things where what's going to happen to all that old telecom infrastructure in that company? Be interested to see what compelling business reason there is to have them around. Now, go to the comments section. One of the individuals by the name of ALX says satellite direct to cell is the future, getting 634 calls. World of Statistics, one of my favorite profiles, says there are 4,759 satellites in service, which is astronomical. I don't think the average person realizes how many satellites are really up there. I was about to say just roaming around. Getting 500, that got 552 likes. AKA says, let's go, this is huge. Getting 99, it's getting his 3 digits. 100, now 101 likes. That's Fresh 84 says, this is incredible, Elon, getting 87 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, LFG, getting 126 likes. The Rational Post says, I spell Starlink phone in the future, centered around privacy, trade, and uncensorable by government, free speech, free trade, free from government stooping, freedom. Getting 462 likes. I guess you'd have to worry about the transaction fiscally speaking. Perhaps you do a Bitcoin transaction, though that might be prohibitive for some people. But yeah, don't forget the credit card industries that are the gatekeepers to a lot of business transactions and can shape or break an industry. Scrolling down more and more. Penny2X says, imagine when the first person is saved from the service, getting 176 likes. Very true. Again, that's a big benefit, especially in the middle of nowhere, if you're hiking or something like that. I mean, you'll be able to make those calls where you would not be able to in instances with the traditional telecom infrastructure. Let's see here. Naomi Seabits, Starlink is providing an invaluable service to the world, trustworthy, reliability, and vital in today's age of information warfare. 391 likes. I'm going to butcher this name, but not intentionally. Amawamba says, my brothers from Kenya, are you seeing this? Getting 126 likes. And again, and especially when you go into global technologies, especially there's more rural areas, some parts of the Middle East. Well, all countries have rural areas. But yeah, imagine if you're a developing country, you don't need to worry about building out the infrastructure of all those cell towers. That's a pretty compelling use case to adopt this technology. Now, as some countries have more and more of a controversial or of a confrontational relationship with Elon, that might prevent some from wanting it to work in their country, but it'll be interesting to see how will they try to stop it. But from the telecom industry, that's going to be revolutionary. And yeah, I think it'll be improve a lot of software and service for a lot of folks. And let me know, do you have a preference? Is this something where a lot of people, and then do you think the average person just won't care in terms of they don't care how their phone connects to the network as long as it's fast, reliable, and economical? Or do you think some people might actually oppose this? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Abroad podcast, you have Colorado citizens speaking out against the recent invasion as their, specifically Aurora, becomes overrun by illegals from Venezuela who are actually turning apartment complexes into basically money-making areas where they are taking over the complexes and demanding cash directly from the people who are living there, basically cutting out the landlord and becoming warlords. Good thing we have a safe, secure border thanks to Kamala. Oh wait, I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, which she says, quote, more Colorado residents are speaking out against the migrant gang taking over their cities. They're terrified to leave their homes. Many of them are getting guns. The government is going to do nothing to protect them, unquote. Now, the downside of them getting guns in terms of the government, these days, given the government, I wouldn't be surprised if someone was breaking into their apartment or someone's trying to extort them fiscally or physically. Well, the government might just take the side of the illegal. That should be a joke, a cruel joke, but it actually is in the realm of possibilities. Now, it's not too long, only about 3.5 minutes. Let me go ahead and I'll see what she has to say here.
So, I live in Colorado. Colorado, obviously, is a landlocked state. We do not have any oceans around us. Denver is a sanctuary city, which means that migrants are actively being bussed in to Denver. Denver's already a little bit of a scary city. If you drive downtown, it's a little bit terrifying. But now we have a situation in Aurora. Aurora is about 20 minutes south of Denver. I live one town away from Aurora, just south of it. So not very far. We go to Aurora for a lot of things. Doctors, shopping. There's so many things that we go to Aurora for. So to have this Venezuelan gang taking over with guns apartment buildings, not one, but 2 apartment buildings, is terrifying. It is a small town. I wouldn't consider a small town. It's a small town compared to Denver, but I mean, it's a suburb of Denver, just like we are. And it's terrifying. I mean, it is, Aurora in our area is known as kind of the rich area, and the kids go to school, when we play the high schools and stuff there, it's like the huge, nice high schools with the giant, beautiful, fields and things like that. And it's scary to think that something like that could happen there. And I'm not very far from there. And what if it happens here? Like, it's getting scary out here. And we're not even in a state where migrants are coming in. They're having to be bussed into us. And this is happening. And if it can happen to us, it can happen to anybody else. And it is terrifying. I live so close to it. It's scary to think that this is what's happening. It's scary to think the world that we're living in. It is nuts. Also, we have a Democratic governor. I wonder if that's part of it. Stay safe out there. Be careful. Be diligent. I'm not a big proponent of having weapons, but I think now it's becoming more and more necessary. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family, because guess what, people? They're coming. They are coming. This is a warning.
They're not coming. They're here.
This is just the start. You think that this is going to be the end of it? Absolutely not. They're going to pop up all over the United States. They're going to pop up in your area. Even when you think you're safe, you're not. Take precautions now while you can. This is your warning. It's only a matter of time before it comes to my city, because I'm right here. It's already in Denver. It's already in Aurora. They're coming, guys. They're not resting. Take precautions. If our government will not protect us from these people, we need to. We need to make sure we're protecting our family. I am not saying violence is the answer. I don't think it is. I'm not saying that we should just go out shooting. I don't think that's good either. But we have to be careful, and we have to protect our families. It's coming. Things are coming. And if you can't feel it, then you're going to live to regret it later.
Yeah, sad, but you get what you vote for. Got 1.4 million views, so those 40,000 likes. The first comments coming from AKA saying Colorado just vote red and President Trump will get rid of him, getting 2,000 likes. Cash Loren says the Colorado governor refuses to do his duly elected his duty and protect his citizens. Shame, getting 724 likes. Cash Loren also says Kamala Harris, the border czar, is responsible, getting 471 likes. The Democrat Media TM says we need mass deportation stat. Bunch of airplanes says mass deportation begin, getting 611 likes. That was estimated between 8 and 13 million in the past 40 months. Records being broken. Florida 1 says the governor needs to call in the National Guard. If this were MAGA doing this, you can bet the city would be locked down and arrested. True. And 381 likes. Well, they said in Delta Force to just eliminate them. Yeah, it's fascinating to see where the government chooses to act and do nothing, and where they choose to actually do something. What was it? I mean, Oregon actually, was it the Chaz zone, the Chap zone? They literally just had a gang take over the whole city, and people died, and police did nothing because they're leftists. The government was fine with it. Base Chef says this, since the U.S. government reaching a hand down into the water, and the hand reaching to the U.S. government is illegal immigrants, then it's juxtaposed with the picture of the U.S. government hand giving the middle finger, and the drowning hand is labeled taxpayers. 871 likes, which also begs the question, what benefits do we get from paying our taxes these days? Yeah. American Sandy says the destruction of communities is on purpose. It's a video of the border, or many borders, with illegals crossing, getting 641. Biff Grilly says Democrat voters discover what voting Democrat actually means rather than the lies Democrat politicians tell the dingbats they vote for them. What a long-winded way of saying psych, getting 572 likes. Homestead Lander says they'll still vote straight blue ticket. They'll die on the cross of their political religion, getting 790 likes. Act Non-Verba says Colorado folks voted for this. It's taken years, but look at what y'all did. Voting for incompetent, dumb people has consequences. Vote Trump in November, getting 236 likes. Here. Another person apparently talks about how illegals are dressing up as Amazon drivers and committing home invasions, getting 663 likes, rather. Just Jen React says they voted for this because they thought Trump was racist, getting 392 likes. Prime Patriot US says Jared Poles needs to be removed immediately for denying this, getting 260 likes. Let's see, any contrarian statements? Dr. Seat says, I guess liberals in Colorado are getting a taste of why the Second Amendment is so important and a taste of why of what they voted for. Yay for illegal immigration and liberalism, getting 788 likes. Florida Mike says, if Kamala wins, this will be America, getting 231 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements here? Yeah, it's quite. I can't imagine. I'd be quite concerned if I was trying to raise a family over there, or if I was living over there. Because yeah, who knows? By the time this video is rendered and uploaded, maybe they'll roll in the National Guard and the government won't do anything. But I can't help it. Yeah, if your backup plan in life is hoping the government will help you out, that's a terrible backup plan. Because more often than not, yeah, it's not gonna be that plan will not work in your favor. So let me know, do you think anything will actually be fixed in terms of Aurora, Colorado? Do you think that'll actually spread to other sanctuary cities? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Tim Walz's brother saying not to vote for Tim, and he also donated to Trump. Now this is brought to us thanks to Laura Loomer on the good old X Twitter, in which she says, quote, Governor Tim Walz, and Kamala Harris are such bad presidential ticket that Walz's own brother supporting Donald Trump instead. According to these FEC records, Jeff Walz, the brother of the VP candidate Tim Walz, donated to President Trump's presidential campaign in 2016. Jeff Walz lives in Florida. Perhaps I'll go interview him and ask about his support for Donald Trump. I can see one of his donation receipts. Yep, Jeff Walz. Oh, wow. It went pretty well. Got 2.3 million views and 16,000 likes. American Papa Bear says nobody likes Walz and Kamala, getting 558 likes, which a lot of people like them, just leftist. I mean, the US is about 50-50 split, Democrat, Republican, left or right. But some people support them. They can't tell us. Most of them are telling us what the policies they like are from the Kamala Walz campaign or ticket. Ultra Super Duper MAGA says, holy smokes, now Now there's a Trump campaign ad getting 602 likes. Which, yeah, I remember when, what was it? George W. Bush's brother, Jeb Bush, was trying to run for office, and like his mom barely endorsed him. Like she just said like he was a nice guy. It was utterly embarrassing. I think that was not the main reason he dropped out. I mean, obviously Trump came in and won, but yeah, it didn't help the campaign. Cash Loren says that's got hurt, getting 102 likes. Let's see, is it Pump Economics says she lies about everything, and Samuel L. Jackson saying, "Do I dare try his accent?" No, next time. Maybe in the comments. Maybe I'll do next time. He says, "Go ahead. You worked at McDonald's. Say that one more goddamn time." Getting 265 likes. Let's see here. Florida 1 says media will now be dead silent of this, of course. Getting 560 likes. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Interesting news. Will this actually sway the election in any way, or do you think anyone really care? Maybe. Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Brazil, the government banning X, Twitter, and VPNs, and will charge users $9,000 per day for using a VPN. So yeah, more tyranny in Brazil. Now, this is actually coming from Glenn Greenwald as well as Elon Musk responding to it, in which Glenn says, quote, "As of today, X is already blocked by many, if not most, telecom and internet services in Brazil. The most shocking part is how Brazil's authoritarian censorship judge, Alexandre de Morales, also invented a new law that fines anyone using the VPN access about $10,000 per day. Fluctuates because of one of the currency exchange rates. Now, that went pretty viral. Got 14.8 million views. Now, Elon responded saying, quote, "I keep telling people that the guy Alexandre is a dictator of Brazil, not a judge. He just wears a costume. He has supreme executive, judicial, and legislative power, aka dictator. The cloak he wears is is to trick fools in the West into thinking he's a judge." He also kind of looks like an evil Bond villain. I'm sure someone will have the post up there in the thread. But yeah, sure sign tyranny is trying to censor data, and especially with VPNs, trying to ban that. I mean, good luck. It'll be interesting to see how they try to crack down on that in terms of the execution of that law. But yeah, sure sign of a dictator. And pretty viral. Again, 13.9 million views and 13,000 likes. One of the first responses comes from Michael Schallenberger saying the totalitarians are breaking their own law, straight out Orwell. It says, let's see here. It says, "Unbelievable, President Lulu's own party, the BT, is breaking the law and posting on X. They are like the pig rulers from Orwell's Animal Farm, and laws don't apply to them." Got 2,000 likes. Catturd says, "I bet he still uses X," getting 1.7 thousand likes. Like there's a Fast84 says truth, and it's a quote from Jordan Peterson saying, quote, "A world without freedom of speech is a world of slavery and tyranny." True. Getting 234, so making 235 likes. Muse says, "I keep telling people that Brazil is no longer a democracy, but a hierarchy." Can't pronounce that. Hierarchy. And it says the world's fourth largest democracy transformed into a critocracy. Looks like that is an article for Political. Then you can see the dictator himself calling himself the Supreme Court. Yeah. I mean, he looks like a Bonneville. It looks like a weird cape, almost like a pilgrim uniform, which has that weird belt buckle. Getting 274 likes. Hodge Jordan says, "Dude is a straight up tyrant. The U.S. will end up the same way if we let the deep state install Kamala." Getting 688 likes. That's84 says, "I can't believe this is happening. I have to censor free. If you have to censor free speech, you're not the good guy. I feel for the people of Brazil. Yet America experienced censorship here with Facebook and Google, among other platforms. This is huge." Getting 139 likes. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, "The American intelligence community installed him, just like they hope to do with Harris. She's willing to do anything and everything they tell her to. She's the most dangerous person in America." Getting 829 likes. The red-headed libertarian says, quote, "Alexandre Voldemort costume makes me believe we live in a simulation." Getting 594 likes. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, "It should serve as yet another warning for Americans. We would almost definitely suffer the same fate." Getting 185 likes. Defiant L says, "I genuinely can't believe this is real life." Getting 532 likes. Let's see here. World of Statistics said Brazil measures against X start to come into effect. X ordered website by court to be taken down within 24 hours in Brazil. App stores told to remove the app within 5 days. Anyone caught the VPN will be fined up to $8,874 per day. Now, someone did a little research. That's about a year's equivalent salary for a citizen in Brazil. So imagine you get fined 1 year's salary per day if you use a VPN. Yeah. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, he's a tyrant disguised as a judge, equaling 345 likes. Todd World says, looks like Brazil's got a dictator wearing a judge's robe, getting 760 likes. Gunther Eagleman, A+ for the reference, says 1984 is calling, getting 277 likes. AKA says he's a dictator. He made that very clear, getting 91 likes. There's any contrarian statements here. Trump Army says Elon is on a mission to save free speech. And it's Elon, picture of Elon with the quote, said 44 billion was not the cost of Twitter, it was the cost of restoring free speech. Getting 461 likes. Truth. Trump Army also says Musk is fighting against tyranny. It's the Spider-Man image of Spider-Man stopping the train, but it's a cartoon when they replace Spider-Man with Elon. The train is labeled censorship, and he's saving the kid crossing the road. It says free speech. Getting 236 likes. So probably one of the let's see here. America AF says, why is he not shutting Facebook down? Is Zuckerberg complying? Getting 674, and I can't help but think probably, yeah. European Invasion says dictators come with the elections, but do not go with elections. Getting 269 likes. Marjorie Taylor Greene press release parody account says protect free speech at all costs, getting 480 likes. Noah Berg says sometimes they look as evil, sometimes they're as evil as they look. Yeah, he literally looks like a Bond villain, or like almost like a cliche Saturday morning cartoon villain. I got 177 likes. So it'll be interesting to see if how Elon or how they try to bypass this, if anything. It looks like Rumble has also withdrawn from Brazil as well, but definitely not good news to their citizens over there. I guess the only maybe silver lining of the situation is that everyone is hopefully starting to wake up to the true threats of totalitarianism and the true threats of evil, and just highlighting the importance of free speech. So hopefully more people realize this. Maybe they'll vote this guy out, but I'm not sure what's going to happen in the short term. I'm not sure how many people are downloading the app. If Elon could just afford to pay the fine per person per day, that adds up pretty quick. What do you think is going to be the future for this situation? And do you have any hope for the freedom of the citizens of Brazil? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Kamala headquarters, profile on X Twitter, framed Tim Pool, and Project 2025, the boogeyman they keep talking about. This comes straight from the Kamala Harris HQ on the X Twitter, and they say, quote, Trump operatives say the Project 2025 is a plan to give Trump total unchecked legal power so they can jail and execute those who don't support Trump if he wins. Then they say this has since been scrubbed from YouTube, this video has since been scrubbed from YouTube. And it's only about a minute long here. This is Tim Pool speaking.
Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%. And the reason for that is they've committed crimes. We need to make sure that when Donald Trump wins, we've got an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, a head of the CIA and the FBI. Kash Patel would be fantastic. We can have attorney general. There's some names floating around. And then they can start having their investigators and the feds issuing subpoenas, pulling up evidence, and with real evidence, bring them to judges for warrants. Then these people can spend three years of their lives fighting tooth and nail for the crime against the government for crimes they committed, and we can prove. Yeah. And the reason why we put them on trial is that we can show the whole world we will uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just jail, they should get the death penalty. You know, we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
So that was a controversial post over there.
Should Democrats be?
Now that would pretty well got 3.3 million views and 17,000 likes. And again, maybe all the comments are all praising Kamala and so saying how accurate this is and how, yeah, but probably not. Actually, no. Spoiler alert: most of the comments are roasting her. But go ahead and dive on in. One of the first comments comes from Keith Aloha, who's a leftist I follow. He says, "Never forget this plan. Remember in November, Harris Walz." And of course, he does not mention any policies or ideas that they stand for. Skipley has a picture that says, Kamala, make America love again. Which is not only mentally vacuous, but useless. Like, did get 25 likes, though. Scrolling down, one of the first actual comments comes from the quartering, saying, quote, there's no mention of Project 2025, and they scrubbed it because the guest misspoke. It's still available on Rumble, getting 2.7 thousand likes. Now, it looks like someone responded by the name of Danny Woodring saying, quote, she didn't misspoke. She stated a fact that YouTube doesn't like, so Tim cut out the live feed and removed it from YouTube so his channel would not get a strike. Unquote, getting 220 likes. Paul Zuma says, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have spent the last 3.5 years weaponizing the DOJ against innocent conservatives. Meanwhile, Biden-Harris has committed the blatant treason of allowing our border to be overrun by 10 million illegals. No real American should support any of this, getting 2.6 thousand likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, this is a lie. I hope Tim sues the F out of y'all, getting 2.5 thousand likes. Another contrarian statement. Mason says Tim Pool is as serious as a cat turd, and Gunther Eagleman, getting 428 likes. Yeah, a record number of responses. You got 78 responses. Tim Pool responds, said, how dare you? I'm significantly less serious. Getting 456, getting 457 likes. So, and that rate of fire ratio, Mason. Laurel Loomer responded, saying, quote, this is a lie. The words Project 2025 were not mentioned once during that episode. The episode was deleted from YouTube by Timcast live on air because I mentioned the punishment for treason per Constitution is death. Tim said you're not allowed to say that on YouTube. And, show more. Why does it not show more? Oh, there we go. On YouTube. And he was worried he might get a strike, so he killed the episode live on air and moved it to Rumble instead. We're not talking about Project 25. The full episode is available on Rumble so people can see the truth themselves. It was never scrubbed. It was deliberately removed in the moment by Tim so that his channel wouldn't be penalized. You're a liar, Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris HQ. That got 13. Let's make it 14. Oh, okay. We weren't the one extra like needed to make it 14,000, but still, for 13,000 people like that. Apple Lamp says this campaign will go down. This campaign post will go down in history. This level of sick and twisted lies you're willing to just tell to remain in power. Shocking. Democrats are truly sick, disgusting, and evil. Getting 1.4 thousand likes. May says this account puts out more misinformation than the entire country of Russia. In 2.5 thousand likes. Let's see. Philip Anderson says you're blatantly lying. Getting 562 likes. Christy Lade says, why would you ignore the invasion of these heroes? Sorry, let me repeat that. Why did you ignore the invitation of these heroes' families? Getting 141 likes. This picture of Trump posing with families that were, unfortunately, had the lives of their family members taken away and they were injured because of the withdrawal, or botched withdrawal of the Biden-Harris campaign's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Cheryl Ann says, since when is Tim Pool a Trump operative? Getting 1.1 thousand likes, which, yeah, Tim Pool is, I mean, he didn't even vote for Trump in 2016. He famously said he wasn't a fan, so he voted against him. He voted for him in 2020 after Trump had a track record that attracted Tim based on policies and things that Trump had done. Tim, but all the people inaccurately labeled in terms of political affiliation, Tim Pool is by no means an ultra right winger, like a Trump guy. Like he's not. Yeah. Let's see. Graydon Stanley Jr., which again, he works at Timcast, says Tim saying that we need to do it the right and legal way upsets you. What are Democrats scared of? Getting 692 likes. Good question. Let's see here. Ron says Trump's Project 25 and threat to our democracy must defeat him to save democracy. Getting 309 likes, but 237 responses. Looking at the comments, Pete True says Trump has said nothing to do about Project 2025 and disavowed a link to it. Stop lying, getting 179 likes. Someone has a picture of the liberal girl crying from the 2016 Trump election and says, oh, Rob, is Trump 2025 in the room with us right now? Getting 60 likes. Let's see here. Just Me, Mrs. Henry says, open your minds to see the lie. 2025 is not Trump. Can't you win, honestly? Getting 17 likes. So. Jason Moore says, by taking away your voice, your right to bear arms and elect your representatives, nothing quite like it to save democracy. Getting 39 likes. Yep. 32, 1BTC says, mindless buffoon, getting 46 likes. So, yeah, this person was definitely ratioed by the comments there. Number of comments, or the volume of comments, rather. Yeah. Someone had an AI-generated image of just some sad-looking kids and they're holding a sign. This is from Rodriguez. Says more lies, and the sign the kids are holding says, Kamala HQ lies, getting 775 likes. Yeah. Brandon Morse says, I smell a lawsuit, getting 50 likes. Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's one of the most entertaining profiles to watch on X Twitter is the Kamala Harris HQ. I mean, it might not be a lot of accurate information, but it is quite an interesting ones. But any other comments? Do you think? And again, there's a lot of libertarians, a lot of people in the middle who watch Tim Pool. I mean, I think he's one of the best podcasts out there. Do you think a lot of people are starting to see more and more how leftists are starting to misrepresent Tim? That'll inspire them to maybe vote for someone, Trump, or I guess now that RFK Jr. was not really really a libertarian candidate out there. Do you think they'll all just go voting for Trump now? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Ford recalling about 90,000 vehicles because of a engine valve issue. As Ford continues to spend more copious amounts of money on cars and warranties. Yeah, friendly reminder, fiscal Q2 this year, Ford spent $800 million on warranty work. Which, yeah, that's not great. Now let's broadcast thanks to your rooters over there. And they say, quote, Ford recalled 90,736 vehicles over an engine valve issue, UX regulators say. That is kind of funny in terms of iconic vehicles that you would want to represent the company. The picture is just a Ford building. And then you see the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is actually not selling so great these days. Their EV division has actually lost $132,000 per EV sold Q2. And also they're scaling back production because popularity is waning as more and more Americans are starting to look at hybrids and less into EVs. Now, going back to the actual substance of the article, it said, quote, Ford is recalling 90,736 vehicles as engine intake valves in the vehicles may break while driving. This according to the National Highway Safety Traffic Administration. The recall impacts, wow, these aren't even like old. So you can't even use the excuse of like, we didn't calculate the materials would degrade at a certain rate over time. These impact certain 2021 to 2022 Ford Broncos, F-150, Edge, Explorer, Lincoln Autos, and Lincoln Aviator vehicles equipped with either the 2.7 or 3-liter Nano EcoBoost engine. As part of the remedy, dealers will perform an engine cycle test and replace the engine as necessary free of charge. Not for the shareholders of people who work at Ford, or maybe the consumers because they have to increase the cost of goods sold to make up for this. But again, it is good for the end users because, again, like all recalls, it doesn't cost the actual person who purchased the car anything except their time and their effort because they do have to go to the dealership. And then it's inconvenient depending on how quickly this can or cannot be fixed. Well, then that means they need to get a loaner vehicle. Maybe they have to get inside a stranger's car using Uber or Lyft. And still not great because the reputation of Ford's reliability, that reputation is something that's been that brand has been chipped away for quite some time. Again, they make a great V8 sports car with a stick shift, so I admire them for that. I mean, I think you could honestly say that Ford won the pony car war, especially because the Camaro has been canceled multiple times, but now it might come back as an electric EV SUV, and then the Charger and the Challenger, they're going to come back as, EVs, then a straight six as opposed to a Hemi, good old V8, as, every Charger Challenger should have by default, I would argue. But yeah, and then it's also not good for this is terrible all around because, again, for the dealerships, they get paid by Ford to do this. But the rate at which they are paid for warranty work is very much discounted compared to the rates that they could charge for any other regular maintenance or any other upselling that the dealerships can do. So these situations really are not good for anyone, which is why Jim Farley, again, I think the CEO, he's done a lot of great things. But first and foremost, every single thing they do, focus less on fancy glitz and glamour technology, just focus on making a bulletproof drivetrain. And in this case, let's make it actually, literally bulletproof, or I guess, technically speaking, bullet resistance. Again, look at Toyota. That's how they built their brand. That's, again, they have recalls as well, but they built it all about reliability, and people love it. And Ford, they keep having these recalls, and they keep paying so much money on warranty work, and again, it's inconvenient for the consumer, doesn't leave a good taste in their mouth. It's just a terrible situation. So again, having yet another recall, and again, in this case, sounds like it's going to, an engine intake valve, yeah, they might have to replace the whole engine. Can't say Ford, that's certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.